Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Respawn Stories. This is the series where we get people from all different walks of life to really hear a bit about their story, their testimony, their journey with faith. And today we've got Ben from our one of our partners, SOAR Community. Uh,
Yo, yo.
yeah, SOAR is one of our partners here at Respawn, but also Ben's just a good friend. I mean, I say a good friend as if we've known each other for like time. I met
How do I get off?
Ben.
I can't get off.
I just jumped.
I can't
No,
jump.
no.
There we go.
Yeah, we're playing a game called Sledding Game. It's kind of just a chill vibe. You sled, you build snowmen, I think.
Yep.
Look at this. And you just chill with your homies. So it's pretty cool. Look at that.
There you go.
Look at that. But yeah, me and Ben have known each other for a wee while now. We both currently work for Youth for Christ, although Benjamin is leaving soon. You're leaving.
I am. I'm moving on.
Moving on to better things, to Wales, so better than England.
Definitely. Agree with that.
But no, it's so good to have you on for today's episode. It's been actually, I think we briefly talked about getting you on a while back.
Yes.
Did we not?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, dang, took you out. I'm just going to see what's happening down here. But yeah, it's good to finally have you on for an episode, to get a wee chat, to hear a little bit about your story. I guess we'll get stuck in with some of our warm-up questions. The first
Sounds
being,
good.
of course, how did you get into gaming?
Well, I think I got into gaming. The first kind of like thing that piqued my interest in gaming was I remember being over at my cousin's house once, and he was playing World of Warcraft.
Okay.
And I was like, that looks really cool. And I had no idea what he was playing at the time. It wasn't until like years later that I realized it was World of Warcraft. But he ended up giving me his old Nintendo DS.
Nice.
It was like, like the really old, like chunky Nintendo DS.
Yeah. I know the one.
And yeah, he had a copy of Pokemon Platinum, which he also gave to me, and that was kind of my first gaming experience. So Pokemon
Nice.
Platinum in particular is very close to my heart. Love that game. Yeah, and then got into like PS2 and all the games on there.
What was your favorite
Nintendo
PS2
Wii,
game?
of course. Oh, my favorite PS2 game, 100% is Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Okay.
It is a brilliant game.
I mean, I was gonna ask what can I get, what's a game that you always come back to, but would it happen to be one of the ones you've just mentioned, or is it a different one?
Well, funnily enough, I mean, I'd say Pokemon I do go back to a lot. Yeah, it's just Pokemon, just generally speaking, is very nostalgic for me. I'm actually doing a Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge on my stream right now, which is awesome.
I got sent. I'm going. I can't stop.
I'm getting you again. Oh no!
No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I do like
yeah.
Pokemon, although I never got into it as early as that. I only started playing the Sun and Moon era, which was I think Nintendo 3DS, I believe. So I'm not an OG, but yeah, no, that is really cool, man.
And then like another one, actually, I'm gonna just check again. Sorry. Another one that I constantly go back to is Minecraft. Just big part of my childhood. So
yeah, Minecraft would probably be my answer. I think everyone has their Minecraft phases every once in a while. Some more than others.
Oh yeah. Just for 2 weeks, and then and then you forget.
Yeah, you forget, and then you come back and start a new world. Forget the old one. Lastly, I want to ask, what kind of games do you enjoy the most versus like what are you actually good at? So I mean, by the sounds of it, you like the kind of Pokemon vibe games, right? Do you say that's like,
yeah, I'd say although I love those games, they're probably not the games that I play the most.
So what do you play most?
If we're going off my Steam hours, it would be Ark Survival Evolved is probably my most played game. So I do love a good survival, like open world sandboxy type game. Those are always great. And Ark Survival Evolved was probably my favorite game for a time. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one because I don't know if I'd necessarily. I'm good at many games. I think I'm kind of average at most games.
I get that. I'm kind of the same.
I used to also play a fighting game called For Honor.
Okay.
Loved that game. That was probably the game that I got the best at.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it for a long time now, so
Yeah, I've
probably
always kind of been
not
bad
very good
at
at that now.
fighting games. Well, I guess we'll get straight into the faith questions then, man.
Yeah, awesome.
I guess first of all, I want to know, like, what did faith look like for you growing up? Was it a big part in your life? Was it, less prevalent? Like, what did that look like for you growing up?
I think faith for me growing up was a big deal. Both of my parents are first generation Christians, so both of them like came to faith just before I was born, actually.
Okay.
And so like faith was a big deal for them because they were just discovering it. And so naturally it kind of was a big part of my life, and grew up going to church. And my older sister became a Christian at a young age as well. And so, yeah, faith played a big part in my upbringing. But I would say I never really wasn't until much later in life when that faith like became my own. If you get what I mean.
What was that moment like then? What brought you to that moment where you had to make that decision for yourself?
Well, I think it's a weird one. I think growing up in a Christian household, oftentimes there's multiple like moments where you have that kind of decision. I don't know if that's just me, but like I remember like in church one day they gave the opportunity for you to like stand up and give your life over to Jesus, and I think I did that when I was like 12. But then it didn't really like change anything for me much. And I think that was probably because even though I had at face value made the decision for myself, I think actually it was still like I wanted to make my mum and dad happy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say that
but inside maybe there was still a part of you that wasn't perhaps committed
exactly.
to that.
Yeah.
I get that.
I don't think that moment came for me until I was much older. So I remember I was about like 17, 18. I'd just got my first job, and I was working alongside another two guys who were Christians, and they were talking to me about their faith quite a lot, and asking me questions about what I thought about faith and God, and I had some really bizarre and weird ideas, and they would often correct me. And then like seeing those guys live out their faith was inspiring and made me want to be more like them. And then the decision moment came when I was 19, and I was like, right, my faith has been not really my own faith for my entire life, and it's time for that to change. And I went. I remember going to the pastor of the church and saying, like, I want to get baptized, and that was kind of the moment where I think it transitioned from being my parents' faith to being my own. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I think it's a good story on as well, like how important it is that we live by example. When it talks about being a light, like those people in your life that were able to be a light to you and help you come to that decision by living it out, by being people that you could aspire to be. Like, I think that's kind of shows off the importance of just living it, not just saying it, but actually being an example for those around us. So yeah, that's really
definitely cool, yeah. I'd say on that as well, I think part of the reason why I struggled with quote unquote being a Christian was because I didn't really know up until that point what that looked like. I'd seen a lot of people talking a good game about being a Christian, but not necessarily living it. And I think that was kind of more of a proximity thing. Like, I wasn't close enough with anyone who was a Christian to truly see the outworking of it in their lives, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%.
And so these guys were the first ones that I really connected with.
Well, lastly, for our faith questions, I want to ask: has there been a specific time in your life, maybe like a challenging time, where your faith really came through for you?
Yes, there's been quite a few actually.
I'm sure there's been more than one, but is there maybe a one that stands out?
Yeah. I'd say the one that stands out is it was probably only a couple of months after I'd been baptized. My dad needed to get a I needed to have open heart surgery.
Okay.
And initially, it was supposed to be like a really easy operation. They were like, yeah, it's because it was a heart bypass, and that surgery normally has like a 93, 94% success rate. But it turns out that my dad needed to have like quintuple bypass, which
Right.
basically means it's the same operation, but you have to do it like 5 times over.
Wow. Really?
And basically that took the success rate down from like 90 odd percent to like just below 50%.
Wow.
And so it was a really worrying time for me and my family. And I just remember like being so worried that my dad wasn't going to pull through. And there was this one song by Bethel Church. It's called Champions. They did it with Dante Bowe, I think. And that song was like one that God really used to speak to me and to comfort me during that time. And I just felt really at peace with it, like knowing that whatever happened, my dad was safe in Jesus's hands was like really reassuring.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a side note. I didn't find out until after my dad got through the surgery, okay, but my mum had actually had a vision as well of angels standing around the surgery room, like guarding my dad from like the enemy's attempts to harm him, I guess.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "Yeah, I know that your dad's gonna pull through, and he's gonna be fine."
Man, that's really
Which
cool.
was just really sick. And
Yeah.
that was a really like difficult time, but also really faith-building time for me, I think.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the hardest times for us could be the times that really God uses the most to build up our faith. So that's that's a great story of that, man. Really cool. Well, now I want to talk a little bit about the gaming ministry side of things. Obviously, we've kind of both fumbled into doing this kind of stuff, which is great. For you, I guess I want to know, like, when was the moment you realized that there was maybe a need for like this kind of thing, like a ministry in the online space? When did you realize this is maybe something that was needed and maybe something that you could even do yourself?
It was kind of a long story for me. Gaming's obviously always been a huge part of my life, and around about the time that I decided I wanted to get baptized, I felt like God was saying that I need to put gaming down for a season. And so I did that, and I went on gap year with Youth for Christ, which is how I ended up working for them.
Nice.
And while I was on the gap year, so a little bit of context. At this point, I had got a YouTube channel. Like before I went on the gap year, I had a YouTube channel that was doing really well. I was on, I think I was just over 1,100 subscribers. I'd had my first viral video. It got almost 500,000 views and stuff.
Nice.
It was going really well, but it wasn't Christian in any way. And like I was very much at a time in my life when I was doing the YouTube stuff where I was swearing a lot. I was involved in crowds of people that maybe weren't the best influences on me. But YouTube was going well.
Yeah.
And when I like properly committed myself to being a follower of Christ, I felt him just say, you need to lay all this down for a while. And then while I was on the gap year, I was like, I'd had a few like really life transformational moments on the gap year. And it was just over halfway through the gap year where I felt God just say to me, like, your story is not unique in the sense that there are lots and lots of people who don't know who I am, who don't know who they are, and they're all in this online space searching for meaning just the same way that you were.
Yeah.
And I want to show them that I am the way and the truth and the life. And I just felt like, okay, I feel like this is God saying to me, I need to use the skills that I have in, YouTube content creation, whatever else that might be, streaming, whatever, to try and reach people who were in similar situations to me, who didn't know what to do with life, or who they were, and were kind of questioning things about God, but not openly. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So then one question. So, I mean, from that you're saying, I mean, was it pretty much just you made that realization and then you just decided you were going to start Soar, or how did it get from there to starting?
To Soar? Well, I had been feeling really strongly that I was not going to get back into gaming, at the point that God said that to me. And I was like, right, okay, I need to really prayerfully consider this. So I spent a few months, just asking God if this was really what he was wanting me to do, or whether or not this was just like a silly excuse for my brain so that I could get back into gaming. And during that time, he gave me the verse Isaiah 40:31, which is, those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will fly on wings like eagles. They will soar, specifically, on wings like eagles. They will not grow. They will run and not grow weary, and they will walk and not be faint.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was the scripture that I needed to take into this, like, for want of a better term, gaming ministry. And then from there, I was like, okay, like, I know I want to use the word soar, but I don't want it to just be that. And then it became, SOAR is actually an acronym.
Okay.
So it stands for saved, overawed, adopted, and redeemed.
Okay.
Which are obviously all the things that we are.
Yeah.
When we become Christians, we are saved by the grace of Christ and his grace alone. And then we're overawed by just what he has done for us. We're adopted into his family, and we're redeemed by the person of Christ. Yeah, that's kind of how SOAR came about.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, just to finish up then, I like to ask everyone that we get on this series is there a verse, a thought, an idea that has encouraged you, or that still does encourage you?
Well, I mean, Isaiah 40:31 is probably one of the biggest inspirations to me.
Yeah.
Which is obviously the one that I just quoted. Also, my other favorite verse, which also has also snuck into the SOAR branding, is Psalm 121. From where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. It starts with, I look to the hills and to the mountains.
Yeah.
And that's why the emblem for SOAR is a mountain with some eagles flying over the top, because it's those two scriptures together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that just really helps me in the times when I feel like life is too much, or there's too much on my plate and too much going on. I just have to remind myself that actually my help doesn't come from me, it comes from God.
Yeah.
And just relying on him for that.
That's really cool, man. And lastly, I guess, what would you say to someone watching who maybe isn't sure of what they believe right now?
I think first off, I would say it's okay to not be sure. Yeah, I'd say it's okay to not be sure, but I'd encourage you not to stay in a place where you are not sure. Like, don't just be passive in that uncertainty. Like, seek out answers. Seek out God. It says in the Bible that if we seek after God, then he will reveal himself to us.
Seek and you'll find.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I'd say keep asking questions, or be prepared maybe to receive answers that you weren't expecting. Yeah, I'd say just be encouraged. There is a God who exists, and he loves you and wants to be in relationship with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, man. I think those are some great answers, guys. I hope you appreciated that on live, or if you're watching this in YouTube afterwards. I'd love to hear what you thought in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much, man, for coming on. Really great answers, great conversation. It's been great having you on, finally. I'm sure people will see more of you in the time to come.
Absolutely.
People definitely check out SOAR Community on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. It's SOAR_community, is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Brilliant. Check them out on all platforms. Definitely, they post some amazing content on there, some great devotionals, different things like that. And he also goes live as well. So if you ever get sick of watching me, you can always go tune in for a different vibe. But yeah,
Sunday and Wednesday.
Sunday and Wednesday. There you go, guys. But yeah, thank you so much, man, for joining, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. If you want to, feel free to subscribe. It would really help us out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. God bless.